A fight between the legends Bruce Lee and Bolo Yeung was one many fans anticipated in Enter the Dragon. Unfortunately, this wasn't what the world got, especially when we consider how Lee's character had no personal beef with Yeung's. Instead, we had John Saxon's character step in to face Bolo Yeung in the final act. There was no doubt that Bruce Lee was going to win against Bolo Yeung in Enter the Dragon, but you could say that was because Bruce Lee was the hero of the movie. That aside, we all can't help but wonder who would win in a real fight if these two men went one-on-one. Sure, there's no evidence of this fight happening in real life, but who says we can't predict what the outcome of such fight could be? But before we get into that, let's meet our fighters and see just what they have to offer. Bruce Lee. The name Bruce Lee is a very popular one when it comes to martial arts in the West. Somehow, this man with his amazing skills was able to close the gap between the East and the West. And even more, he was part of the greats that drew the attention of the world to Chinese martial arts. Lee was born on the 27th of November 1940 in Chinatown area in San Francisco. Young Lee was born into the family of Cantonese opera star Lee Hoi Chun and his wife Grace Ho. But although Lee was born in America, he spent his formative years in Kowloon, Hong Kong. Lee's father was quick to introduce him to the film industry, which was how the martial arts superstar snagged his very first movie roles as a child actor. However, this wasn't exactly the life Lee envisioned for himself. For Lee, a future for him looked like a career in martial arts. Young Lee eventually turned out to be a street fight magnate. So, considering that he needed all the self-defense he could get, his parents made the decision to enroll him in a martial arts school. And so, from a young age, he began learning martial arts, where he trained in Wing Chun. Lee also went on to learn Tai Chi and boxing, and in the process became a high school boxing champion. By the time he was 18, Lee was back in the U.S. for a degree at the University of Washington, Seattle. He also began to teach martial arts during this period and even participated in the 1964 Long Beach International Karate Championship. It wasn't long before his outstanding performance began to draw some attention to him. As he got into his 30s, he was back in the movie industry, where he starred in several movies. Before he knew it, Lee's acting skills soon made him a movie icon all over the world. Lee was soon able to put together the elements he had learned from all the martial arts to create his own martial art philosophy called Jeet Kune Do. This eventually became mainstream and influenced modern combat sports as we know them. Unfortunately, by July 1973, the world lost its martial arts legend, Bruce Lee, at the age of 32. Bolo Yeung. Born Yongzhe, Bolo Yeung decided to take up a new name after building a successful reputation as a martial artist, actor, and competitive bodybuilder. Yeung got into the limelight after playing several roles as a daunting villain, his most popular role being the one he played in Enter the Dragon. Yeung's interest in martial arts began as early as when he was 10 years old. During those years, he was trained by different kung fu masters, which helped him develop his kung fu skills. But that wasn't the only thing that Yeung had an interest in. Still, as a young boy, Yeung also had a lot of interest in bodybuilding. And after years of building himself, Yeung soon became Mr. Hong Kong Bodybuilding Champion, a title he held on to for about a decade. Yeung's body determined the roles he participated in, and that body was indeed built for villain roles. After filming with the Shaw Brothers for a while, Yeung left the production company in 1971, but that wasn't the end of his career. While filming a Winston cigarette commercial, Yeung had the opportunity to meet with the legend Bruce Lee. Lee immediately noticed Yeung's talent and didn't hesitate to give him a role in Enter the Dragon. Yeung's next big role was Bloodsport, where he played the character of Chong Li. He acted alongside Jean-Claude Van Damme, who played the lead as Frank Dux. And from this point, his career in the film industry continued to blossom. Now that we've been able to meet both characters, we can finally get into the sweet stuff. To determine the outcome of this fight, we will judge our characters across 4 categories. They are fighting pedigree, physique, skill, and improvisation. And for each of these categories, we will be awarding 10 points. Of course, the fighter with the higher points wins. Fighting pedigree. Both of these contenders happen to be remarkable martial artists. However, it would be insane if we ignored the fact that Bruce Lee was known as a legendary martial artist, a man that created his own martial arts philosophy and also mastered several other martial arts. This is in no way a means to disregard Young's pedigree, but we've got to give respect to whom it's due. And so this one goes to Bruce Lee with 9 points, while Bolo Yeung gets 7 points. Skills. When it comes to skills, we have 2 very skilled men here. However, once again, Bruce Lee wins this round. Watch this man in his element and you'll realize just how much he put into executing his style, which made him a fearful fighter. It's no doubt that Bolo Yeung has some insane skills in his arsenal, but even he can testify that it doesn't come close to Lee's. So, Lee gets a full 10 points and Yeung gets 7 points. Physique. In his prime, Bruce Lee stood at 5 foot 8 inches in height while weighing about 64 kilograms. On the other hand, Bolo Yeung stood at 5 foot 6 inches in height while weighing about 70 kilograms. The 2-inch difference in height may not be of much significance, but a 6 kilogram difference gives Lee an advantage here. Not a lot, but definitely enough. With that, Lee gets all 8 points, while Bolo Yeung has 7 points. Improvisation. Lee's Jeet Kune Do philosophy, without a doubt, involves several elements of surprise. However, this doesn't rule out the fact that Yeung definitely has the ability to pull off excellent moves and tricks of his own. So to close this off, these 2 contenders end up with a tie here, with 8 solid points each. Verdict. Finally, after collating all of the scores with 35 points, Bruce Lee wins the fight against Bolo Yeung, who has 29 points. Indeed, both of these men are talented, one more than the other, of course. But do you agree with this verdict? Make sure to let us know in the comments section below. Also, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and click on the bell icon so you never miss any of our future uploads. Thank you very much for watching.